Welcome to Fearless and Focused, a podcast for women who refuse to shrink, settle, or play small. I'm Brooke Brolo.
And I'm Casey Cooper. Together, we're bringing you raw conversations, real strategies, and the behind the scenes truth building a business and a life you love.
We're here to talk manifesting, mindset, money, leadership, and all the messy metal that no one wants to say out loud.
So if you're ready to level up with more confidence, more clarity, and more community, you're in the right place.
Let's get fearless and focused. Welcome to another episode of Fearless and Focused. I'm so excited for our guest today. Corina Harkelroad is here, and we're going to be talking about wellness and fitness and nutrition and faith and motherhood and even some stuff on breath work. And I'm so excited to welcome Corina. First, I wanted to read your bio because you have an amazing bio. So I wanted to make sure that I touch on all the things so all our listeners can hear how fabulous you are. But Corina is an IFBB fitness pro, and she's a coach who's passionate about helping women build strength, confidence, and lasting wellness from the inside out. Has a background in fitness, nutrition, and holistic health, and she blends practical strategies with the mind and body connection to help women thrive both body and spirit. She is a wife, a mama of three, and she's a faith-driven leader who inspires others to live with greater purpose, health, and freedom. Welcome. We're so excited to have you, Corina.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, we're excited to dive in. But before we dive in, we always like to kind of do an icebreaker of some rapid fire questions. So are you good with that?
I'm ready. Yes.
Okay, here we go. Early workout or evening workout?
Early workout.
Protein shake or sit down breakfast?
Protein shake.
Strength training or cardio?
Strength training.
Coffee, tea, or electrolytes?
Ooh, coffee and electrolytes.
Yeah.
Nice, a combo. Leggings and messy bun or fully dressed and ready?
Leggings and messy bun.
My girl. Yeah.
All day, every day. Rest day or active recovery?
Active recovery.
And breath work in silence or with music?
With music.
Nice. One more. Gym session or hot girl walk?
Gym session.
We need you to.
Those are easy. I like those.
Awesome. Yes. If you're not watching this, just know that Corina has the most phenomenal body. So let's start with your background. How did you get into the fitness space and coaching? For as long as I've known you, Justin Harkerroad's wife, so he was an agent. I've known him for years. That's how I got to meet you. And I just remember, oh my gosh, this wife is so beautiful and in fantastic shape. And then I saw, oh gosh, she does coaching and fitness and nutrition and like following your journey and this and that. I just find you so inspiring. And I was wondering, like, what led you there? Have you always been interested in fitness, or is it something like you had a pivotal moment? What did that look like? Give some backstory.
Okay, so thank you for asking that. I never thought I would be a fitness coach, but I went to IU, got my degree. I got telecommunications major, business minor, always thought I'd be a working woman. I started off doing some like sales in different regions right out of college. So like the sales job, it was for pack mail. So I had to go to like different art galleries and just talk to them about pack mail and give them little goodies. And then I ended up getting a job at Lincoln Financial Group. So I then was like working on the trade desk. I got my Series 7 and was doing that. I was on the phone all day long and there was no windows. It was just like not my cup of tea. I realized that. And I always wanted to go to cosmetology school. And so once Justin and I got engaged, I kind of told him this dream of mine is to go to cosmetology school. And so he supported me through that. I got my cosmetology license. So I'm like a learner. I love learning. So started off in a salon and newly married, found out I was pregnant. We got married end of September and I found out I was pregnant December. So we had only been married a couple months.
Yeah.
A month later, I find out it's twins. And I'm 5 foot and basically nothing. And so the doctor was like, okay, you're carrying twins. This is your first pregnancy. And being a cosmetologist, I'm in the salon on my feet all day long. And he basically was like, "There's no way you can go to term doing this job." And so I ended up getting my insurance license because I thought, "Oh, I'd help Justin at the insurance agency." And so I did that while I was pregnant with the boys, and we thought, "Okay, I'll help out at the office." And I always imagined myself working, but the twins came, the 2 boys, and our lives were like a tornado.
I know what
And
mom's
it was
like. I don't know, have 2 at one time. That's crazy.
it
Yeah.
was survival mode, and, oh, it was yeah, just that became my full-time job, was taking care of these 2 boys, and I loved it, and I'm just so very thankful that I was able to do that. And it wasn't until Justin ended up talking me into doing P90X. So he had one of his agents sold Beachbody and introduced us to Shakeology. And I was like, "Ooh, this shake is good. I love this." I had never known anything about protein, nothing like that, but the shake tasted good. I'm a busy mom. I'm playing with the kids all day, barely have time to eat. And so that was something that I added to my diet and I loved it. But that was kind of my first working out. I never belonged to a gym ever. I grew up doing gymnastics and I also cheered. I cheered for IU. Ooh, ooh, national champions this year. So I was active, but I never went to a gym. I never like strength trained, never. And so after the boys, I was able to get down to my pre-pregnancy weight. I was feeling good after doing the P90X with Justin. And then I got pregnant shortly after, and I had Lily. So I had 3 kids under 3, and I had her, and I couldn't work out or do anything during my pregnancies, so was kinda high risk as well as the boys, and so I didn't work out. I barely could walk around the block. I just ate. I loved being pregnant. I ate everything. It was like Papa John's, ice cream. Justin's acting like he's cake boss, making me some cake at home. I lived it up. And I will say, I wish I knew what I know now about nutrition and fueling the body. And I wish I could have given that to my kids, but you don't know what you don't know. And so after Lily, she was probably 12 months old, almost a year. I was breastfeeding her and I was exhausted and I felt like I could barely keep up with these kids. I felt like I couldn't even take care of them. I had nothing in me. And I thought maybe something's wrong with my thyroid. I didn't know. I was just completely exhausted. Went to the doctor and said, "This is the pivotal moment." Went to the doctor and I found out I had prediabetes. That was the moment that I was like, it scared me to death because my mom was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and I seen her struggle with her weight and just she had to get gastric bypass surgery, actually. So she ended up having this major surgery. She did lose a lot of weight. She ended up gaining it back. But anyway, so it was a wake up call. So I was like, okay, I need to do something. I have these 3 kids I need to live for. And so I joined a gym. I joined the local YMCA. And it actually was life changing for me because they had childcare. And so at this point, I'm like this mom who I felt like my whole identity was just trying to survive and take care of these kids and just so this gave me an opportunity to have an hour to myself to move my body, and it just started slow. I just tried one of the exercise classes and I loved it. It was like a dancing kickboxing boxing class. I almost died. I was completely out of shape, but I loved it. And so that kind of started my love for fitness because it truly did save my life. I just felt like I was losing my cool with the kids all the time. I was just exhausted. I had nothing in my cup to give. And so when I started just taking that hour a day to just go to the gym, walk the track with some friends, or do a class, I was just falling in love. And I started to feel better. I started to have more energy. I noticed my mood was better. I was more patient with the kids. And it got to the point where Justin, if I ever was in a bad mood and he came home from work, he's go to the gym. So that kind of became my just my what filled my cup. And I never thought I'd be teaching classes, but because I was a stay-at-home mom, I thought maybe eventually when the kids go to school, I'll do this. And so Justin, you know how he does these motivational quotes online? He had posted something and it was like, What are you waiting for? Go after your dreams. And I signed up to get my group exercise certification that day. He had posted something and it was like, okay, why am I waiting till the kids go to school? We have childcare. I could do this. And that's where it started. I got my group exercise. I started teaching exercise classes. And then I got my personal training certification, started doing one-on-one. And I had these women coming to me and asking how they lose weight. So they don't teach you that when you're becoming a personal trainer or a group exercise trainer. So I just said what I had known, eat less, do more. And I now kick myself in the butt because I just didn't know. And I was giving them bad advice. I was giving them advice that I feel like women are drilled into. You have to keep going, don't eat, basically work yourself into the ground, do all this cardio. And it wasn't until I think it was 2018, we're on a family vacation and somebody asked me if I compete. And I was like, "Compete? What does that mean? What are you talking about?" And he was like, "Bodybuilding. Do you compete? Are you in prep?" And before this, working at the Y as a trainer, somebody had told me you should compete. And so I thought, "Okay, God, you're telling me I need to take this next step." And so I hired my coach. And this is where I learned about nutrition. So I had the moving my body exercise part, but I had no idea about nutrition. I thought peanut butter was protein. It's not.
It's not. Hang on.
Fun fact, it's a lot of fats, a little bit of protein, but I love me some peanut butter. Anyways, I hired a coach and my body started to change. I felt stronger. And so then people around me are like, "What are you doing, Kareem?" And now I had some information. Wow, you can really change your body when you start fueling it properly. And so that changed my life. And so I ended up getting my nutrition certification and just became really passionate about specifically helping women just because I struggled. My whole life, I didn't know anything about nutrition, but I always had the same mentality. Okay, I need to go on a diet. I saw my mom go on a million diets. I need to go on a diet, salads only, super restrictive. And once I hired my coach and I realized, wow, you can eat all foods and you can learn how to fuel your body to hit those goals. And so that's kind of just become my passion is to help other women, especially mamas, and just because I know how hard it is and how much we give and don't give to ourselves. And I know what a big difference it does in everybody's life when you start to take care of yourself. So that was my pivotal moment, pre-diabetes. Yes.
So important. And I feel like everyone that's listening is going to so relate to being exhausted, having nothing left to give, like all the things. What do you think that women are craving most right now when it comes to health and wellness?
I love the messaging of being strong. I think it's getting out that I know growing up, I grew up in the zero fats are bad, skinny culture. And I feel like now women are learning that muscle is life, it's longevity. You're seeing what did I just see on Instagram? A 93-year-old woman doing a dead hang for like almost 3 minutes. This is what I'm talking about. Women need to know that strength lifting weights is not gonna make you like a man. Believe me, I try to lift and get big. It's hard. And so I think women are learning you get so much confidence when you can lift some weights and feel strong, and I love that messaging is getting out.
Yeah. And especially over 40 club, almost
Mhm.
50 club right here. I talking to experts like you, they're like, more protein, pick up a weight. More protein, pick up a weight because we lose our muscle. And I have seen it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got and I am not a cardio fan. I've just never have been. But I don't now I love to dance, but if you're like go run, I'm like, oh no. I'm like, oh, I love to walk and things like that. But when it comes to strength training, I love the way it makes me feel. And I'm not lifting, I'm not lifting to get big. I'm just lifting to feel good and feel like I can lift something and be strong. And I feel so empowered after. But I think there's a lot of conflicting information out there for sure. when it comes to the right foods or lifting and things like that? What are some simple basics? I'm brand new, starting out. I'm like, I know I need to do something. Where should I start? Like, where should, because it's overwhelming. Like, where should I start?
It is very overwhelming. I would say start with the basics. Make sure you're getting enough sleep. Shoot for 7 to 8 hours, that's optimal. Make sure you're drinking enough water. I don't know how some people survive off of 20 ounces of water a day.
My husband is a cactus, I swear. I tell him all the time, I'm like, "I don't know how you live." Like, how much water do we need, though?
Technically, it's half your body weight plus 15 to 30 ounces. So that's easy. Half your body weight, please get that amount of water. And then every time you exercise, say you exercise for an hour, you want to add 15 to 30 ounces in. So a lot of people aren't drinking enough. I always say shoot for the gallon a day. I'm 115 pounds and I drink a gallon a day. Yes, cheers.
It cut right here. I need to fill it up. It's empty.
Yes, you need to fill it up. So having the big cup, always having water on you. Honestly, you can't go wrong. I would say start your day with water. A lot of us go straight to the caffeine. And if you're sleeping all day or all night, you wake up, you're dehydrated. And then we go to caffeine and that dehydrates you more. So just starting your day with a glass of water could be a huge thing. And then walking, like you said, walking, you don't. First of all, I'm with you. I don't run. I will run if it's a bee chasing me or a bear, but that's it. I do not run. It's hard on my joints. But yeah, just going outside, going for a walk. If you went for a walk after every meal, 5 to 10 minutes, like that's huge. It's good for digestion. You get outside, you get fresh air. That's great for stress. It's low impact. It's easy on your body. Start there. Just start walking. And then as far as food goes, I would say I think we get hung up on should I be vegan? Should I do carnivore? Should I do paleo? Should I do whole 30? Try to eat whole foods. Don't restrict any food group, whether that's carbs or fats or protein. Try to get a balanced diet and then protein at each meal. That's the biggest thing, protein at each meal. Learning what you're putting in your body. So, I think it's very eye-opening when somebody starts tracking their food because that's how I start with all my clients. Let's see what you're currently eating on a normal day, and then we go from there. And I think it's just eye-opening. We think we eat a lot less than we do, and we move a lot less than we think we do. So, just being aware of what you're putting in your body is a first step. What am I actually consuming? I'll never forget when Justin logged his first Coke, like a can of Coke. He's "It's liquid. How can it have this many calories and carbs? What?" It was shocking for him. So I think just like tracking some of the foods. I had one client who gets a salad every week, multiple times a week from a local restaurant, gets it to go. It's easy. She thought it was super healthy. She logged it and it was like 800 calories and she had no idea. A lot of fats, not a lot of protein, and she's thinking, oh, she's doing something great for her body, which, yes, you may be getting some micronutrients in, but you might as well have had a hamburger. Not knowing what you're putting in your body is, I would say, the first step. Learn what you're putting in your body and protein at each meal. And you can't really protein's least likely to be held as fat in the body, so it's like your best friend. It's the building blocks of our body. It helps your hair, skin, nails. It's protein is life.
Okay, can we shift a little bit to breath work? And I can't wait to dive into the segment. So I have to share that last week I did, and it wasn't breath work, but I did an online meditation for all these high achieving women in the insurance industry. And which it was so foreign to them. They were bouncing all over. The feedback was like, this is super uncomfortable. So just even getting them to try to just pause for a minute during the middle of the day. So this was during the day, but getting them to just pause for a minute and just breathe and be still was really hard for them. And it felt awkward and uncomfortable. So I love that we're talking about this because I think it's so important and it needs to transition even more into these high achieving professionals that are doing all of the things. So, what do you got on breath work? How can you help us and tell us about your journey?
Oh, yes. So breath work has changed my life as well. And I would say going back with the kids, losing my cool. When I learned the power of breath and just taking a deep breath in, long exhale, I was able to breathe and not scream at my kids. So that was like the first step, just learning to take a couple deep breaths in, let my stress levels calm down. And they actually started learning, oh, and mama's taking deep breaths. We better be quiet. I didn't have to say anything. They just saw, okay, I'm breathing. And I will also say, two of my kids have really bad anxiety. And so that's where I started learning. It was like, I'm like looking up how do I help my babies with their anxiety, their panic attacks and breath. It was all about the breath and slowing down the breath. And so working with them, and I struggle with anxiety myself, so it's just helped my family. And then I dug deeper into breath work. One of another fitness pro was doing some breath work before getting on stage. And I'm just seeing her lying there doing some breath. And I'm like, first, I'm like, what is she doing? And so after we got done performing, I went up to her and I'm like, "So tell me more about this breath work." And she just basically was like, "It's helped her with the performance, it's helped her with her mindset." And I was like, "Okay, I want to do this." And so I hired her as a breathwork coach, thinking it's going to help me with the stage, being able to perform better. Really, that's what I went into it for. But honestly, it was like the very first I did a 90-minute session with her, it's called a journey, and it was transformational. I told her when I got done, it was better than any therapy I've ever done, is better than I've done hypnotherapy, I've done ketamine therapy, I've done it all, and I told her it was, like, better than anything I've ever done, and so healing, and so breath it's where you wanna take it, but for me and what I'm gonna do for my clients, I'm doing getting my certification for somatic breath work, and that's all about getting out of your mind and into the body, because we're always go. Our mind is just like you said, these women who are working, but hard for them just to be, and I think that in our society, that's how it is. It's like we forget to breathe. We're stressed and we're taking short, shallow breaths, and it's just making our stress levels go up even more, and stress causes sickness. And just for my own journey and learning to breathe and how healing it could be, and starting to feel emotions again, because I feel like we suppress all our emotions, it's transformational. And yeah, especially people who are in the office, have highly stressful lives, taking even 2 minutes to breathe. Now our smartwatches have the little circle, and
Time
you
to
can
breathe.
breathe with it.
All the things.
You could breathe with it, and I will say it is uncomfortable at first because we're in our mind and we're like, "This is weird. This is what are these people doing? This who sits still and breathes?" But that's our bodies are so smart, and God gave us breath that he breathed life into us, and breath is life, and so getting back to allowing ourselves to just take a couple deep breaths is so good for the body. If you're trying just talking about health and wellness, if you're stressed out, your body's not gonna change. Stress is a basic component. So, that's something I try to tell a lot of my clients is, "Let's just start with 2 minutes of breath a day." And then maybe do a there's guided meditations, there's breathwork coaches, there's so many avenues to do the research, and you're not starting from nothing. There's information out there. You just gotta start.
And isn't it crazy how I feel like, and every time we talk to an expert, I'm like thinking we're going to get this crazy out of the world information. And they're like, you just start simple. Like you start with a walk, you start with breathing, you start with water. And we forget all these things. I think we overcomplicate it. And I know like breath work for my son has been transformational for him. So this is why I was like, ooh, how do you incorporate this? Because I know how I incorporate it with my son and I have had anxiety my entire life and panic attacks. And poor Jax, my son, he got that from me. And so he has it and deals with it. And it has been just so hard as a parent to watch. And we did all sorts of things, but I was like, not putting him on a medication. What can we do? We found an amazing therapist who incorporates, and he has alligator breathing, if you've heard of that. And so, because exactly like you said, when you're stressed out, you're closed off like this, and you're just short, rapid breaths, and then you're about to hyperventilate. and it teaches you to open your chest up. They tend to lay on the ground, and then like he puts his hands under his chin so that opens up the airways, and then take alligator breaths, big, long, open breaths. And then you can just see his whole body just start to relax. And I'm like, okay, I'm like listening, going, therapy with me too, breath work for me too, because I do get anxious. I get anxious when I go on stage. I get anxious when I go before podcasts, when I talk to groups, and I'm like over there, okay, 4 in, hold, out, all the things, and it really does make a difference. So I love that, like, you're incorporating that and into just the fitness side of things, because 'cause you're right. If you're holding on to all the stress causes you to feel bad, it causes weight gain from what I hear, what I heard, and
Yes.
cortisol, all the things, right? So it's just another component. I love that you bring that into this whole, like, holistic journey and fitness thing that you have. I think that's incredible. Another thing that you do that I love, you and Justin are very vocal about your faith. And I think that is incredible. And you both share that. And I just want to know how you kind of incorporate that into your influence with women, or your approach to the health and wellness, how you tie that faith based approach in.
Yes, when we opened Triumph, so we did open a fitness studio that I currently do coach at. I was in church. This is when we're like doing all the planning and stuff. And we're during the worship time, I felt like God was saying, you need to have a worship ride. So we have cycling at our studio. And I thought, okay, let's try it. It was terrifying. I thought, who's going to want to go to a cycle class and listen to worship music? But it's actually one of our most popular. So on Sundays, there's a worship ride, and it's like 45 minutes of in the dark, listening to worship music, moving your body, sweating, and praising God. And there's been so many people who've walked out of that room with just tears and then just saying, that is exactly what I needed. And I do feel like God's used the instructors who teach that class to just shine a little bit of light. So that was where I started with as far as incorporating God in fitness. But I'll say now, as I've grown my relationship with God, I now with my clients, I will ask them like, "Can I pray for you this week?" Because we'll have like our check-ins, and to me, it's like you can't do anything without God. Well, how are you going to stick to your plan and be disciplined with your food and just relating? Okay, God gave us this temple, this body to take care of, and so that we can shine His light. Just thinking before I eat, is this going to glorify God? Is this going to, help me with my goals and help me feel good so that I can help others feel good. So I think that's where I've started incorporating it. I used to be terrified to pray out loud, but just seeing Justin and his fire for God, it, like, rubbed off on me. And the more I do it, honestly, it's like the closer I feel with my clients, I feel like they're more successful because we're not doing it alone. Okay. We have God with us. Yeah. It's something I've started to slowly do with my clients.
Oh, that's so good. And I think that Justin's rubbing off on you and you're rubbing off on your clients. And so it's almost like just a domino effect of no wonder why you're feeling like you're living your purpose and your passions and all of that. Before we start wrapping up, what would you say to the woman who is, like most of us, is putting herself last? What would you say, just some inspiration or motivation or a place to start or something like that, if she's feeling super unbalanced and very overwhelmed and life is feeling heavy and she's putting herself last because that's what she's seeing in front of her? What's some steps or some advice that you could offer?
I would say to remind that woman that just like when you're on an airplane and they tell you to put your mask on first before you give it to your child or the person next to you, in order to better serve others, you have to make sure you're taking care of yourself. And I think that we are caregivers, women are caregivers. We want to help everybody else. But just speaking from experience, it wasn't until I took care of myself that I was better able to be a better mom, a better wife. So I would say just start with doing something that brings you joy. So, Brooke, you said you like to dance. If you're looking to move your body, do something that brings you joy. I think I started with a Zumba class because it didn't feel like I was exercising. So it's okay. Do you love to swim? Do you love walks outside? Do you love your dog? Do you want to take your dog for a walk? Or if you have children, maybe doing something active with them And just again, starting small. I think a lot of us, not just women, we want to go from 0 to 1 and just start small. Maybe it's taking a hot bath at night for 5 minutes, going to bed 5 minutes early, starting that with that cup of water in the morning, little baby steps. Maybe it is waking up 5 minutes before the kids wake up. And this was a game changer for me, was giving myself a little time in the morning before the kids got up. Because before I'd wake up and it was like frantic. They need something. I haven't even got out of bed yet. And so just 5 minutes in the morning, maybe just doing a little bit of breath, prayer, water, and you start your day off great. So I would say just that little step.
Corina, if someone wants to connect with you, how can we find you and follow you and all of the things?
Okay, let me see. So I'm most present on Instagram. So Corina Marie _ IFBB Pro. Or you can email me, CorinaHark@gmail.com. That's pretty easy. I would love if anybody needs guidance in health, fitness, breath, reach out to me. I would love to talk with you, help you in any way I can. So I would say those two avenues.
Perfect. And we'll put those in the show notes too. So we'll put all that in there. And then our last and final question that we love asking all of our guests: what does fearless mean to you?
Fearless means to me doing it scared. I don't think anything that's new, uncomfortable is scary, but being fearless is taking that step anyways. So do it scared.
Love that. Do it scared. That's a good quote that we'll put with this. We want to thank you so much for just taking some time out of your day to enlighten us and give us some direction in health and awareness, and just bringing awareness to this type of thing for all the women out there, and especially the high achieving women that get to stop and take a breath. So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for hanging out with us on Fearless and Focus. If today's episode gave you an aha moment or a reason to smile, hit follow and share it with someone else who needs it.
We're building a fearless community, and we're so glad you're part of it. Until next time, stay fearless and keep growing and keep going.